Welcome to Diesel Pro Mastery. I'm Eric with Diesel Pro Network, and I've got Charles here with me from PP&E. Charles, thank you for coming today.
Hey, how you doing, Eric?
Good.
And excited to show you guys some of our newest product, the newest designs that we have as far as transmission coolers go, for whether it's your Duramax, Cummins, any of your vehicles out there that need this important cooling system upgrade for you guys. So a little bit about these stock units. These are prone to not only leaking over time, but just clogging up. As you can see, this would be mounted right on the front of your vehicle. A lot of debris could get inside of there, some bugs, some stuff, maybe even some plastic shielding that could block a lot of these passages over time. It's a good upgrade to, take this stock one and replace it with either one of our upgrades here. So this is our tube and fin, which is quite a bit larger than factory. And then this is our bar and plate design, which is the latest and greatest, and gives you about 2.5 times the surface area overall. As far as transmission cooling goes, that's very important, because if you can imagine, this is just a heat exchanger right here, and the more surface area you can get across the board here, the more wind resistance, that's going to help reject a lot of the heat and going back into the transmission itself.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that factory has this little dinky thing on there,
right,
to such a applications, where guys are towing and pulling, right, and even the performance guys that are really turning up these trucks, and you're expecting this thing to take care of your transmission. It just blows my mind that they put all their faith in that. And
that's where cooling becomes so important, especially if you're towing anything over 8,000 to 10,000 pounds, right? You're really going to run into heating issues, right? So if you're relying on this to keep your temperatures down, that's ultimately not going to be something you want to rely on. Right. It's going to leave you stranded on the side of the road, right? It's going to be a bad weekend if you're trying to take the camper out and you're stopping every 5 minutes to get your temperatures back down. Yeah, a lot of times people don't think of when you're going camping, you're going into the mountains or something like that. Steep grades, you're not used to it, and as soon as you hit those grades, obviously the temperatures start to rise if you get something like this trying to cool your transmission system down. So, obviously the two, we can tell the difference between the two. This is a beautiful piece of the nice welds and much larger, but what would, what application would somebody say, okay, this one is fine, or I need to upgrade to this style? Now, if you're doing like your daily driving, you don't tow much, maybe you tow 5,000 pounds, between 5,000 to 7,000 pounds, this is going to be a great upgrade for you, which is the tube and fin. Where you really want to upgrade to something for a bar and plate design, if you're doing more than 8,000 pounds, you're doing 8,000, 10,000, 15,000, this is going to be something that you definitely want on your vehicle to make sure that you're not missing a beat, you're getting all the performance you want out of the truck. And fitment, I noticed they're a little different in size, but you've got the brackets, they look relatively close. How is the fitment on these? It's 100% factory fit. Okay. So that's a great question, because a lot of guys obviously see the size difference and you think right away it's not going to fit. Right. No, we make sure the brackets stay in the same exact place where they got to be, and you just take out this existing one, put in ours, and you're good to go. And then the fittings, I noticed these fittings are real nice in here. They look like an upgrade even on the fittings. Oh yeah. Yeah, so these fittings are great. There is one key difference between some of these fittings that we have here. For your 01 to 03 Duramaxes out there, there's a split year. So mid 03, you do have the opportunity to run an orange clip or a purple clip, depending on what came factory from the vehicle. So we recommend, if you do have any questions, to call us so we could try getting you guys sorted out and make sure you're getting the right fittings to begin with. Yeah, so somebody could get a hold of your tech department and figure out which color clip they need and 100%. Which style. Yeah, because that could be real aggravating. Obviously, you don't want to tear it all down and then try to figure out what color clip you have and those sort of things. Right. So that's a great service that you guys offer for that. Yeah, these are beautiful pieces. The transmissions in today, what a lot of people don't realize is they need to run at a certain temperature. Exactly. And I'm assuming that's the goal here with this, is to make sure you're running at the optimal temperature for the transmission. Yeah, exactly. A lot of guys, we push these vehicles very hard. Understandable, like I said, when we're towing, we got to make sure these things are performing. So if you're ever experiencing temperatures in excess of 180, 190 degrees, you really want to make sure that's realistically closer to 150 to 160 degrees is where I personally like to make sure my transmission keeps at, just so that way we're not getting scarred up scarred up insides. You don't have damaged internals. They're not getting too hot to cause even metal debris that might fly through these transmission coolers. And what happens when you get that metal debris that goes through there with catastrophic damage, you're going to get all those shavings inside of these tiny fins and these tiny tubes, and that's going to cause more disruptions to the flow, and you're not going to be able to cool as well from factory either. So it's very important to make sure that all your lubricants are staying at tip-top shape.
Yeah, and I don't know how you could even possibly flush something like this out to make sure you got all the contamination out of it, or material that's gone through the system if you had a transmission failure.
And that's a very key point. If you do have a catastrophic failure, whether it's your factory one or even ours, unfortunately these passages are so small, it's really recommended to just replace the cooler. You could try to back flush it, you could try to flush it out. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be successful.
Right.
So we usually recommend, if you do have metal shavings inside of there, replace the cooler right away so you could prevent any future overheating issues.
And plus, it looks really cool having this thing stuck out in that grill, in the bottom of the grill with this thing, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now, if you're staring at that thing in the middle of the night and you just see this lit up, I've had a couple guys with some nice illumination behind the grill, and it's a nice looker.
Yeah, you pull up, people know you mean business,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Well, thanks for joining Diesel Pro Mastery. Hang tight, we've got some more for you with PP&E.